Hi everybody, my name's Stephanie.
I'm Titi.
And this is A Couple Abroad. Today we're going to tell you guys 7 different steps on how you can travel during a pandemic as college students.
We have been traveling for a little less than a year. We've been in 3 different countries for about 3 months in each place, and we're in class. We're full-time students.
Yeah, so basically when the pandemic happened in March, we decided for the next year, instead of getting a lease, that we would just decide to travel. First, we make a list of open countries. By doing this, I would usually look up just an easy Google search of where can U.S. citizens travel to today.
Or Chilean citizens.
And oftentimes I would find things from USA Today or different media outlets like that, and they would give me a list of 40 to 50 countries that supposedly are open right now during COVID.
2. We will research about the countries and just cut down the list because in the beginning it will be 50 to 60 countries and we cut it down to 15 to 20 countries. So we research and see if the country is safe at the moment, how expensive it is, how their COVID regulations are. We really like to eat out, so we will prefer countries that have some different dining options.
After creating this pros and cons list, we would then dive deeper into the COVID regulations. By doing this, I usually would search something like U.S. Embassy in country, so U.S. Embassy in Chile. And if I did that, I would first find the date that the article was posted to make sure that it was relevant. And if it wasn't relevant, I would dive deeper, find that country, and find their specific website that does update every single day on their COVID regulations. From there, you can see everything. You can see if they do their COVID regulations by phases, if they're actually open, if you have to do a mandatory 14-day quarantine, if you need a test 3 days before, 10 days before, all that information should be there.
So that brings us to number 3. Try to stay updated on the COVID regulations and just the policies that the country has at the moment. Because Stephanie is a U.S. citizen, we signed up for the STEP program. STEP program is a government program that sends you emails or text messages updating you in the different protocols and changes that the country where you're going has.
Alright, so number 4, we would look for Airbnbs for an extended stay, which is a 4-week or more stay, minimum 4 weeks. Usually Airbnb will offer you a significant discount if you stay for the month, although some countries did not, so we would not pick those countries. Our budget was between $650 and $850 because that is the same that we paid in Madison, which is where we went to school. So as long as we were staying within that budget, we could stay in luxury apartments in certain countries and small apartments in other countries. It just depended on how much your dollar will go in that country. Usually we would bargain with Airbnbs. In Ecuador, I was able to get prices from $1,500 to $750. They would cut in the middle. People were very willing to bargain on their prices if you are willing to stay for the whole month. And last tip for finding a place to stay would have to be that you need good Wi-Fi, because if you are a college student or if you're working remotely, you're going to need good Wi-Fi.
And also make sure you have a study place. Make sure you have a table and a chair where you can do homework. We've tried to find that in every place we went to, and we found it in every place but the place we're at now. We thought that some bar stools in a counter and a couch were gonna be enough, but they were really not. Staying in front of the computer 5 days a week in those bar stools or in the couch, so really recommended to find a chair and a table where you can do homework or work.
For sure.
Number 5. Then my favorite part is making a budget.
My least favorite part.
So you will make a spreadsheet in Excel and you will take into consideration all of the main expenses that you will have in the trip, and also the little expenses. You will categorize them into one big group and just get a rough estimate of how much it's going to cost you to do that trip. We will take into consideration aspects like housing, flights, activities, food, phone plans, etc.
With that budget, we choose whichever country is the cheapest and pleases us the most with their attractions and things to do around in that country. So with the budget, you also want to take into consideration the overall cost of the country. To do this, we would either do a quick Google search of how much you can live on per day. Please note that that is just a suggestion. To each their own. If you plan on eating out, if you plan on shopping, that number is not applicable to you.
Number 6, you have to get health insurance. I really do not like to pay for health insurance, but I always do it because it is very necessary.
Yeah, we discovered that the hard way when we were in Peru in the past year when I got extremely sick, but that's a story time for a different video when I explain to y'all what it's like to get sick while you're abroad. But with the travel insurance, it's not that expensive. It does vary per country, but it's usually between $30 and $100 for the good one. I would recommend making sure that you look for COVID-specific insurance and coverage of at least $30,000. Certain countries will recommend or even enforce that you have to have travel insurance to get into the country.
Like Chile.
But you're going to want to make sure that it's at least $30,000 of COVID coverage and that you have primary medical care, not secondary, okay? Primary, not secondary. And the last thing to do with the health insurance is to know where all your hospitals and clinics are just in case you end up getting sick while you're abroad.
Number 7, just follow the COVID protocols and just stay 6 feet away from everybody as much as you can. Wear a mask or 2 masks, like one on top of the other if needed. Find where you can get a COVID test done because you are probably going to require a PCR to go back into your country.
I would recommend knowing where those PCR test sites are and keep in mind that prices vary exponentially. For example, in the US, oftentimes we get tested for free, but then all of a sudden we went to Ecuador and the price was $120. Then we went to Chile, their price was $40. Now here in Mexico, it's about $100. So I would really just recommend understanding right off the bat that PCR tests can be expensive. And if it is positive, you're gonna have to stay in that country another 10 days or 14 days to make sure that you're quarantined before coming home. So all these things are really important to take into consideration when deciding if you want to and if it's worth it to travel right now.
Yeah, you have to make sure that you have enough money to stay for another 10 or 14 days in a hotel if you test positive. In a lot of places they will give you a place to stay, or in others they will let you pick where you want to go, which is a little nicer.
And then lastly, we just want to offer you guys some quick tips and tricks for while you're traveling with COVID. 1, shop small when you're abroad. Many countries and people are suffering a lot due to COVID. So I would really recommend, instead of buying that souvenir at Walmart, why don't you just go walk around the street and buy it from the nice lady on the corner? Yep, last 2 things, pretty typical. Sanitize often. Bring your own alcohol or bring your own hand sanitizer, wipes, all that sorts of things. And then especially as we've been traveling around Latin America, avoid saludos, especially with kissing. Just give them a fist bump, give them the elbow, whatever. Even if you know the person, even if you're really good friends, maybe just back away from the hug, give them the fist, because at the end of the day, it's important that you're safe and that you get to continue to explore the country that you're in. So that's all we have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy, please do subscribe. We will link our Instagram right here. More information will be in the description below. If you like the video, make sure to give a thumbs up and leave a comment.
And let us know if you want us to make another video of this kind, if you have another question or something that you want us to share.